Hello, everybody. I have here a document sent to me by the esteemed Ron James, the great local anthropologist, giving us the correct location of where the hunt party uh, crashed their canoes and had to depart the Snake River to walk to Oregon. It says here, Rollins places the scene of Crook's canoe wreck at 1 1/4 miles below Milner Dam. Hunt's party occupied the Cauldron Lynn camp from 28 October 1811 to 3 November. According to Rollins, the site of Hunt's 28 October camp and the location of 9 caches this quote, may confidently be assumed to have been on the Snake's left bank and approximately 2 1/4 miles below the present dam at Milner, end quote. Washington Irving, using Hunt's journal as his source, described how the caches were prepared. Quote, Mr. Hunt now set to work with all diligence to prepare caches in which to deposit the baggage and merchandise, of which it would be necessary to disburden themselves preparatory to their weary march by land. And here we shall give a brief description of those contrivances so noted in the wilderness. A cache is a term common among traders and hunters to designate a hiding place for provisions and effects. It is derived from the French word cacher, to conceal, and originated among the early colonists of Canada and Louisiana. But the secret depository, which it designates, was in use among the Aboriginals long before the intrusion of the white men. It is, in fact, the only mode that migratory hordes have of preserving their valuables from robbery during their long absences from their villages or accustomed haunts, on hunting expeditions, or during the vicissitudes of war. The utmost skill and caution are required to render these places of concealment invisible to the lynx eye of an Indian. The first care is to seek out a proper situation, which is generally some dry, low bank of clay on the margin of a watercourse. As soon as the precise spot is pitched upon, blankets, saddle clothes, and other coverings are spread over the surrounding grass and bushes to prevent foot tracks or any other derangement. And as few hands as possible are employed. A circle of about 2 feet in diameter is then thinly cut in the sod, which is carefully removed with the loose soil immediately beneath it and laid aside in a place where it will be safe from anything that may change its appearance. The uncovered area is then digged perpendicularly to the depth of about 3 feet and is then gradually widened so as to form a conical chamber 6 or 7 feet deep. The whole of the earth displaced by this process being of a different color from that on the surface is handed up in a vessel and heaped into a skin of or cloth, in which it is conveyed to the stream and thrown into the midst of the current, that it may be entirely carried off. Should the cache not be formed in the vicinity of a stream, the earth thus thrown up is carried to a distance and scattered in such manner as not to leave the, the minutest trace. The cave being formed is well lined with dry grass, bark, sticks, and poles, and occasionally a dried hide. The property intended to be hidden is then laid in, after having been well aired. A hide is spread over it, and dried grass, brush, and stones thrown in and trampled down until the pit is filled to the neck. The loose soil which has been put aside is then brought and rammed down firmly to prevent its caving in, and is frequently sprinkled with water to destroy the scent, lest the wolves and bears should be attracted to the place and root up the concealed treasure. When the neck of the cache is nearly leveled with the surrounding surface, the sod is again fitted in with the utmost exactness, and any bushes, stalks, or stones that may have originally been about the spot are restored to their former places. The blankets and other coverings are then removed from the surrounding herbage. All tracks are obliterated. The grass is gently raised by the hand to its natural position, and the minutest chip of straw is scrupulously gleaned up and thrown into the stream. After all this is done, the place is abandoned for the night, and if all be right, next morning is not visited again until there be a necessity for reopening the cache. 4 men are sufficient in this way to conceal the amount of 3 tons weight of merchandise in the course of 2 days. 9 caches were required to contain the goods and baggage which Mr. Hunt found it necessary to leave at this place. End quote. Hunt then divided his people into 2 groups. Hunt, with 18 men, and the Dorian family proceeded down the north side of the Snake River, while Ramsay Crooks took 18 men and proceeded down the south side. They left Cauldron Lynn for Astoria on 9 November 1811. Their provisions consisted of, quote, 40 pounds of Indian corn, 20 pounds of grease, about 5 pounds of portable soup, and a sufficient quantity of dried meat that allowed each man to a pittance of 5 pounds and a quarter. Each man had to carry 20 pounds weight besides his own articles and equipment, end quote. When Robert Stewart arrived the following August, the reports that 6 of the caches had been opened and the contents either taken or scattered about the vicinity. Quote, the 3 remaining caches had not been molested. They contained a few dry goods, some ammunition, and a number of beaver traps. End quote.